So what in the heck is going on with Bitcoin versus Bitcoin Cash? You know, I was doing my video Sunday before I even talked to Cliff High and Bix on the Three Amigos, which I already set to upload Monday, which you've already seen now. And, you know, I read you this story of from back in June or July, that it was the Chinese this big push for Bitcoin Cash to take over Bitcoin, and then essentially just kind of push out Bitcoin. When I say Bitcoin, it's actually Bitcoin Core. And actually, I think I should probably read this. Someone is like, hey, let me help clear up some of that stuff for you. Some corrections on the forks. The New York agreement was an agreement between many big players, including major miners, to agree to signal for SegWit and go along with a user-activated soft fork to implement SegWit, which strips out some of the data to fit more transactions, like 50 to 75% more, into a given size block, and on Bitcoin Core or BTC, and also do a user-activated hard fork to raise the block limit to 2 megabytes, thus the 2x of SegWit 2x, on Bitcoin sometime in November. Still Bitcoin Core. This was to give a SegWit 2x by the end of November, which would theoretically handle about 3 to 3.5 times the current transactions that could fit in the block. The SegWit user-activated soft fork was activated August 1st. Bitcoin Cash hard forked off on August 1st, giving everyone that BTC the equivalent amount in Bitcoin Cash. Bitcoin, well, hold the phone. Hold the flipping phone. Stand by. Stand by, Captain. SegWit 2 user activated hard fork, 2 megabyte size cap, including SegWit from previous. UASF was canceled on November 8th. What this means is that the Bitcoin Core folks, mostly funded by Blockstream, which is headed by a Bilderberger supposedly, see the following link, which takes us to the Dollar Vigilante site. And anyways, that's kind of where there's a little bit more of that, but anyways, fork, not fork, soft fork, hard fork, like for the average person, this is completely irrelevant. Just an FYI. All you're probably wondering right now is, damn it, which one do I get into? Bitcoin Core, the normal Bitcoin we know, it's called Bitcoin, or Bitcoin Cash. And as I said from last Friday, I got out of Bitcoin, 0.6 of a Bitcoin, and put that into what turned out to be 5.75 Bitcoin Cash. Now, today I sold a little bit off. Actually more, I'd say about 2/3 of that. I got like 1.75 Bitcoin Cash at the moment. I had 5.75. And flipped those into some more Litecoin, some more OMG, and some more EOS. A little bit, you know, 3 of them. I then had some Ethereum sitting there kind of collecting dust, so to speak, and I loaded up on a little bit more EOS. And I was reading Cliff's report today. I never did get a chance to read it yesterday. And long story short, all cryptos are going up. And he says, you know, even Bitcoin Cash, even though it's kind of hard for his data to really, or for his bots to really hone in on Bitcoin Cash, because the word cash is used so much on the internet, the word Bitcoin is used so much on the internet, and when you use just Bitcoin, is it referring to Bitcoin Core, which nobody calls it, Bitcoin or Bitcoin Cash, right? So he's kind of discussed a little bit about that in the, his the Three Amigos chat. But Bitcoin Cash, the data is showing, is going to be going up for sure. But his note was essentially, FYI, so are pretty much all the other cryptos. So if that means, you know, Bitcoin Cash is going up in price to, you know, take over Bitcoin price levels, well, it could happen. He didn't say that. He's not using those words, by the way. This is what I've gathered from reading it. But long story short, the data is, yes, Bitcoin Cash is going up, but in the same breath he says, but so are all cryptos coming next year, spring, etc. time past and beyond. So which one's going to win? Which one's not going to win? Supposedly Bitcoin is by, this guy that runs this group, who runs the Bilderberg group. They're the ones pushing it, but then he, Dollars Vigilante has Roger Ver on his side, but there's some shady things about Roger Ver. There's some comments, I'm reading some of the comments, but that aside, who do we believe? And it's literally a damn, in my opinion at this point, it's a damn crapshoot. However, if this thing was supposed to take over, this Bitcoin Cash, just dethrone Bitcoin, the high was around $2,400-$2,500. I guess it was that Sunday, late Sunday or whatever, sometime Sunday, this past Sunday, and Bitcoin was 7,000 something, right? It's down to it was down to $5,500. Oh my gosh, it's happening! It's happening. I leave work today, one last peek. Oh, it's back up to $6,600 for Bitcoin. Meanwhile, Bitcoin Cash has, I wouldn't exactly say crashed, but $1,300, $1,400. Okay. And again, you look at the market cap. Boy, Bitcoin Cash has a long way to go. Are they going to be able to pull that off if that was their plan? And that's the thing. Maybe it's their plan. They're trying to do it. And it fails. And it fails. The intention was supposed to go that way, for all intents and purposes. That was the plan. It was set in stone, but it doesn't happen. And Bitcoin Core, the same Bitcoin we know today, remains king. Meanwhile, Bitcoin Cash still chugs along and goes up because all the other cryptos are going up anyways, right? That is a plausible scenario. But just as equally as plausible is, well, what if they are able to push Bitcoin Cash up past Bitcoin and dethrone it, so to speak? It'd be hard to argue with that. Again, when you got this kind of money, big powers behind this crap, who's going to win the war? Who knows? Wait, sit back and let's see. That's why I was saying Friday, hey, I had, which honestly I think I had like 8 Bitcoin. I took that down to, actually I had more than that. I think now what I'm stuck with, left with is 8 Bitcoin. So I think I had like 8.6 or whatever Bitcoin. Take off the 0.6, that's what I got, 5.75 Bitcoin Cash. Now again, the safest thing would have been just leave both alone at that point. Or you might even say make them equal. You got 8 Bitcoin right now, do whatever you need to do, whatever exchange you need to do on the Exodus wallet or what have you to give yourself 8 Bitcoin Cash or the equivalent, whatever it is, 7.5 Bitcoin and 7.5 Bitcoin Cash or whatever. I mean, honestly. And then that way, whatever one takes over, that's the king. You win either way because you have exactly amount of Bitcoin over here and the exact amount of Bitcoin Cash over here. You can't really lose. Honestly, you really can't lose in that scenario. So if you want the best scenario, that's it right there. Plain and simple. Even at $1,300, $1,400 Bitcoin Cash right now, you could still liquidate, $6,600 Bitcoin, the number you need to, in order to bring up your Bitcoin Cash and make them even. I've decided today, and I'm not telling you that I have some kind of secret information or that I could get it wrong. Hey, listen to me, I could get it wrong. But I felt like, the hell with Bitcoin Cash, I've got 1.75, it'll sit there. Hell, I might even add a tiny bit more just to get a little bit back. Yeah, give me, 4 Bitcoin Cash or something. And then just sit on that. But I had the extra ETH and some stuff. I'm like, man, I want to go in more on EOS. That was in Cliff Hive's report. This latest one, by the way. OMG, it's in the report. And both, nothing's changed. They should start doing well. Litecoin, of course, it's in the report. So I added, like I said, a little more Litecoin, a little more OMG, a little more EOS, and I took out some of those earnings from Bitcoin Cash because remember I got in at $800 when I did that on Friday. So when I'm sitting here looking at $1,400, cost almost double what I had. I'm gonna liquidate some of that and put it in some of these altcoins that I know are gonna do well. That way they're out of this whole battle, so to speak, of Bitcoin, Bitcoin Cash, you know, whatever. But then again, you could say, yeah, but Joe, what if Bitcoin Cash takes over and rules and becomes, you know, the $8,000, $9,000, $10,000 Bitcoin all of a sudden, you know, because they want to change the name too to just Bitcoin instead of Bitcoin Cash. Well, then I missed out on that. And are those tokens I got into gonna return that kind of? They might actually, tell you the truth, they might. So this is exciting, it's scary, it's oh my gosh, what if I do that? What if I do this? What if I do that? You know, almost like you're playing chess with maybe yourself. If I move here, then I'll move over there, but if I do that one, then I'll go here and I'll capture, you know, my king, checkmate, okay, you know. Which is why I try to tell you, get into a bunch of these things. This is the typical reason of portfolio, diverse portfolio. Not one or two things, not even three things. How about Bitcoin, Bitcoin Cash, Litecoin, Ethereum? By the way, have you seen the price of freaking Dash Coin recently? At $400-something, which Cliff High says will continue chugging along. Not necessarily out of control, oh my god, but definitely, hey, holy crap, look at Dash. And at some point, Dash is gonna, it'll be noticeable, like, whoa, what's going on with Dash, in a good way. Not to say that they won't fall back, because they're going to. Dash will, you know, again, there's always little sell-offs and stuff, but it's looking good. Dash is looking good. The main cryptos are looking good. And remember what I told you guys a while back? If you want to do like the, what I would consider like the safest thing, not mess with ICOs and that stuff, you just want to do something kind of safe, Bitcoin, Ethereum, Litecoin, and then I said I'm going to add a new one. This is what, a month ago, I'm guessing? I'm not sure. Dash. So if you have Dash, those four, Bitcoin, Ethereum, Litecoin, Dash. Here's the thing. Let's just say you had those four. And this whole Bitcoin Cash thing, you ain't messing with none of that. You just been sitting on those things and that's it. Let's say Bitcoin Cash does overtake Bitcoin Core, and pretty much Bitcoin Core is crapped out on and goes into the hundreds of dollars of price point, no longer, you know, thousands. Yet Bitcoin Cash does go up to those prices. That means your Bitcoin investment wasn't good after all this time. It turned out to not be so good. But you still have Ethereum, Litecoin, and Dash, which are looking good. And again, right now from a month ago, if you look at the price of Dash, you'd be pretty damn happy with where Dash has performed. But Populous, Incidence Report, you know, all these tokens, it's just, honestly, like I said, the best thing for anyone who's really struggling on the Bitcoin thing, try to even out what you've got. Try to even out what you've got. If I've got 10 Bitcoin, let me sell a couple of them off. Now I've got 8 Bitcoin, and I can dump that into Bitcoin Cash. Again, I don't know the exact conversion in my head, but let's just assume taking 2 Bitcoin out right now would give you, actually it would probably give you, let's see, 14, hell, at $2,000 Bitcoin Cash. And let's just say $6,000 Bitcoin. Nice RV not looking at not even kind of as he gets over. And anyway, so let's just, again, for simple math, $6,000 Bitcoin, $2,000 Bitcoin Cash. That means you need 3 Bitcoin Cash to equal 1 Bitcoin, right? So you sell off 1 Bitcoin, sell off another Bitcoin, now you've got 6 Bitcoin, okay? Or excuse me, Bitcoin Cash. So whatever your math is, if you want to play the absolute best hand you possibly could, regarding this Bitcoin versus Bitcoin Cash thing, and he said in his report too that this ain't over. This is like, there's a battle has now ensued, and it didn't just end just because I'm out here telling you, oh man, $2,500 Bitcoin Cash just went down to $1,300, $1,400. You know, it's still, there's still more to go, but the safest thing is to equalize those and then sit back. I mean, I say you can't lose, but technically you could if Bitcoin went back up to skyrocketing. Oh my God, $10,000 Bitcoin. Meanwhile, Bitcoin Cash, that whole thing failed. It's down to $500 a piece. and you have equal amounts now. Well, if you would have kept them into your regular Bitcoin, you'd have had a lot more money at the moment. But again, I'm trying to tell you the safest thing. What can I do? The best possible outcome for me as a person who is nervous about Bitcoin, Bitcoin Cash, which one do I do? If I tell you to just sit all on Bitcoin, well, you might miss out on the Bitcoin Cash. If I tell you to dump a lot of your Bitcoin and go into Bitcoin Cash, and then it doesn't perform, then you actually really hurt yourself. So again, 50-50, 8 Bitcoin Cash, sit back and enjoy the ride. It's literally that simple. And yeah, the risk is Bitcoin goes back up, and this was just some nonsense that occurred, some FUD, so to speak. But at least you do have 8 of the Bitcoin Cash ones that you could sell for whatever they end up being, $300-400 again, times 8. Hey, there's some money back. You know what I mean? So it's just really interesting to watch this happening. Big money, you know, involved, and $5 billion, $10 billion volume on the market. It's just, you know, at one point the Bitcoin Cash volume was like 11 billion, but Bitcoin volume was like down to 9 billion. Uh-oh, here it goes, it's going. They're taking over. And then all of a sudden today, never mind, reversal. Bitcoin back up to $6,600. Bitcoin Cash from its highs, and it was hovering around $1,700-1,800 for a while before it hit $2,400-2,500, came back down, 16, 17, 18 again, 100. And then today it was down a good bit and kind of stayed down into the lower teens, 13, 14, 12, 13, 14, whatever, bouncing around. So I don't know, my gut instinct doesn't mean, you know, look, I've had gut instincts in the past, and I've gotten some wrong, some right, you know, crapshoot, so to speak. But my gut instinct on this, I'll tell you what it is Bitcoin's going to remain king. That's my gut. But even though that's my gut, I'm still going to be a smart trader or investor in this one and make sure that I do in fact hold some Bitcoin Cash. So I did sell a little bit off earlier. I still got a little bit left of Bitcoin Cash, and I've got my little notes every morning. I got my little phone app, you know, Blockfolio, notify me if the price goes here, and I'll probably ultimately jump back in and get a few more Bitcoin Cash. But again, I thought, well, maybe I'll skim a little bit off that. EOS, OMG, Litecoin, bang. Because if those things take off, I'm like looking at, you know, like you probably do, okay, I've got this many of those. Man, if it just goes to $10 or goes to $5 or this, man, you know, house payoff time or this payoff time, you know. And then again, as I said before, then when you look at that kind of money, when these things really start going up, next year is the year for sure. Cliff's saying it. That's when it starts to really go. I'm going to struggle with, hey Evelyn, hey wife, we could easily pay off the mortgage, everything, which that's all we own, right? Oh, as far as debt goes, is our mortgage. Evelyn, do we want to sell off right now and pay the house off? I mean, I know it's hard not to do that seeing these prices, but if we do, you know, what if we wait another 3 months, another 6 months? Where are the prices of these things going to be at then? And if they double by chance, that means half of what we have right now would be able to pay it. Instead of the whole thing that we're about to put towards this. Half of what we're about to pull out would pay for it. But what if all cryptos go to crap and the whole damn thing fails, and I'm sitting here saying, man, I had the chance to pay my damn house off, I had my chance to pay the house off and I missed it. That's the other side. So honestly what my plan is to pay the house off, but make sure I can have at least 50% of my crypto portfolio that I have right now. If I can keep 50% of it, sell the other 50% when the time is right, and I'm telling you next year the time might be right. Okay, pay off the house time. Done. Done, son. Hey, breaking news, Jason for Real News here. Guys, you remember about a year and a half ago, not even that long ago, I told you guys the whole silver thing, we're waiting on that prices, but forget that because cryptos, imagine the day when I come out and tell you, hey guys, I just paid my house off with the freaking cryptos and my silver wasn't even touched, it's still sitting in the safe, and it hasn't exploded in price yet either, so whenever that happens, bingo, little bonus. Right? And I'm making up a story like, wouldn't that be cool if, you know, can you imagine that happening in the future? I think it's possible, you know. My friends, it is possible. And if I can keep half my crypto portfolio and pay off a house, the most expensive house I've ever purchased in my life, which I still can't wrap my head around that, Joe, well, that's okay. I paid off the car, I paid off this, all I have is the mortgage. Okay. And we don't have health care, paying that second mortgage, so to speak, known as health care. So, you know what? This house actually isn't that bad to afford after all. $314 electric bill. Got the pool pump going constantly, cleaning itself. We use the jacuzzi, the spa thing. Man, that was all. And I don't even have my solar panels hooked up last month, Bill. Man, that ain't bad. I'll take that, I was expecting, $400-something bill. Like, it's a bigger house, and man, no. 2 newer AC units, high SEER rating. I guess that helps. But yeah. So guys, I'm trying to tell you what I'm, thinking and what might be the best solution if you're trying to play it safe. If you're like Joe, I don't want to play it safe. I want to really try to play this one with Bitcoin Cash. I can't even tell you. Again, my gut feeling is I'm gonna keep I'm not taking any less Bitcoin right now. I think I got 8 or whatever. It's staying at 8. I'm not touching them. The other things I'm in, I got some more ETH. Let me liquidate a little bit of ETH and get a couple more, Bitcoin Cash or something. Maybe I'll end up having, 4 or 5 Bitcoin Cash, 8 Bitcoin at the end of the day, and that's it. Call it a day. Because remember, as Bitcoin Cash starts to, if it actually goes through the plan that they're talking about, we're seeing $6,000, $6,600 Bitcoin right now with $1,300, $1,400 Bitcoin Cash. If Bitcoin Cash gets up to $4,000 and $5,000, my friends, then that means Bitcoin is probably around the same price and going down in value. You still have the opportunity at that point to say, okay, I think the writing's on the wall now. To see these kind of prices, the writing's on the wall. I'm going to go ahead and start liquidating my Bitcoin and throw that into Bitcoin Cash. Therefore, I'll have maybe 75% Bitcoin Cash and 25% Bitcoin, because I don't like what I'm seeing here and I think the writing's on the wall. Right? You could make a decision like that. But, again, if you had the 50-50 thing, 8 and 8, and that same scenario plays out where you have, again, let's just say $4,000 Bitcoin, $4,000 Bitcoin Cash, you've got equal amounts. It's actually equal. You've got 8 and 8, which is essentially saying $8,000 one of those. $8,000 Bitcoin or $8,000 Bitcoin Cash, because combined, that's the price. 10 and 10, right? So, or 10, or maybe I said 8 Bitcoin, whatever it was, 8 and 8. And they're 4,000 each, right? So, anyways, you're kind of on your own, and I hope I didn't make things more confusing for you to think about, but I did give you a good scenario of how to play it safe. And then the second scenario, which I'm ending on, which I just said, is watch the prices, and then you may need to make a move as one starts to overtake the other. That way you can capitalize even more. But that's your call. You make the call. J-State reports, and you make the call. Now, is watching football, baseball, national anthem, one knee down, who the hell wants to spend their time watching that crap? With all the excitement in cryptocurrencies going on. You know what I mean? Like, that's where my brain is at. I watched the fight the other day. It was an epic fight, the MMA fight, UFC. It was unbelievable. Fantastic. Last 3 rounds, the fights of the night, they were fantastic. So I do get it. I need a little time to unwind, get my mind off of stuff. But believe me, even when I'm watching that, my mind, cryptos and whatever, my mind is always going. Got cryptos on my mind. Or was it Snoop Dogg? My mind on my cryptos, and my cryptos on my mind. Laid back in the crypto cave. So, anyways, little ride home chat, and I'm out.